All right, so we're diving into textile machine operators. Looks like someone's been doing their research. We've got a whole bunch of info on this career path, including a guide from RoleCatcher, interview tips, even details about their job search platform. Really digging into this field.
Definitely seems like a smart move to explore all the angles. The more info you gather, the better equipped you are to make a decision, right?
You know it. So when I hear textile machine operator, I'm picturing like someone in a factory, maybe a bit repetitive, just overseeing machines all day. But this RoleCatcher guide kind of flips that script, doesn't it?
Yeah, they really go beyond that stereotypical image. Like, one thing that stood out to me was the emphasis on quality control. They talk about textile machine operators needing to spot a flaw in the fabric from a mile away. That's detail-oriented work right there.
For sure. And it's not just spotting problems, it's knowing how to fix them too, right?
Yeah.
Like, why is this machine acting up? How do I get it back on track? Almost like a detective figuring out the clues.
Totally. And this is where it gets interesting. The guide talks about staying updated on tech advancements. It's not just about running old machinery. It's about adapting to the latest tech in the textile industry.
We're changing all the time. I
Yeah.
was just reading about 3D knitting technology, how it's revolutionizing garment production. Imagine a textile machine operator needing to master that talk about future-proof skills.
Perfect example of how tech is shaking things up, even in industries we think of as traditional. And speaking of tech, you mentioned this RoleCatcher platform has some cool features.
Yeah. One that caught my eye was their AI job search tool. They're saying it can actually match you with positions based on your skills and experience. Pretty wild, huh?
Shows you how tech is changing the whole job search game, making it way more personalized. But let's go back to the textile machine operators themselves for a sec. One thing that surprised me in the RoleCatcher guide was the focus on soft skills, stuff like communication and teamwork. Not what you'd expect from a job working with machines, right? It's actually spot on when you think about it. A textile machine operator isn't working in isolation, they're part of a team. Coordinating with maintenance to keep things running smoothly, collaborating with quality control to make sure everything's up to par, maybe even communicating with suppliers to track materials.
Wow, hadn't thought about it like that. It's way more interconnected than I realized.
Exactly. And with so many moving parts, being able to communicate effectively and work together is key to keeping the whole operation humming.
So we're talking part tech whiz, part problem solver, and a good dose of people skills. How does that resonate with what you're looking for in a career? It's really cool how they highlight all the different skills you need to be successful in this line of work. Like, let's say you're thinking, okay, this sounds up my alley, but what's my potential career path look like? The RoleCatcher guide actually maps that out, right?
Yeah, they do. They lay out different stages, starting from entry level all the way to supervisor, so you can see the potential progression.
And they don't just list job titles, right? They give you real life examples of what each stage entails, what people actually DO in those roles.
Which I thought was super helpful because it makes it way more tangible. You know, like at the entry level, they talk about someone who's eager to learn, assist the more experienced operators. Right off the bat, that attitude can get you far.
Absolutely. You're not expected to have all the answers on day one, but you got to be ready to soak up knowledge like a sponge. Always be learning.
Exactly. And as you progress, to junior and then senior operator roles, you take on more responsibility, handle more complex machinery, tackle more challenging issues. You can see that progression of skills and expertise.
And then by the time you hit that supervisor level, you're basically running the whole show. They're talking about analyzing production data, coordinating between different departments, making decisions that affect the entire operation.
It shows you that this career path has real opportunities for advancement. If you're someone who's ambitious, wants to move up the ranks, you can go from operating the machines to overseeing a whole team, a whole process.
And speaking of moving up, they even have a section on interview tips, which I thought was super practical.
Totally. From how to prepare, what to wear, even the kind of questions to expect. It's like having a little career coach in your pocket.
And not just generic interview questions either. These are tailored specifically to textile machine operator roles.
Exactly. They get to the heart of what's important in this line of work. Like one question they ask is, how do you prioritize your workload when operating multiple machines? That's getting real specific, right to the core of what a textile machine operator does.
Because that's something you need from day one.
Yeah.
Like you've got all these machines humming, each with its own rhythm, its own potential hiccups, and you got to keep them all running smoothly.
And that question, how do you prioritize? It's really getting at your problem-solving skills, your ability to think on your feet, to handle the pressure.
Speaking of problem solving, You mentioned earlier that RoleCatcher has other tools for job seekers, like those AI-powered features. I'll admit I was a little skeptical at first, but now I'm kind of intrigued.
It is pretty high tech, but it's designed to solve real problems people face in the job search, including those interested in textile machine operators.
Okay, so tell me more about this AI. What does it actually do? What makes it so special? So they've got this AI, and it's not just about finding jobs for you. It can actually help you prepare for interviews, too.
That's right. One of the cool things they offer is AI-powered interview practice. You can actually practice answering common interview questions, and the AI will analyze your responses and give you feedback.
Whoa, hold on, seriously. It's like having a robot interview coach in your pocket.
Yeah.
But what kind of feedback does it give? Is it just like you said too many times or something?
It's way more advanced than that.
No.
It looks at things like your word choices, your tone of voice, even your body language if you're using video. It can tell you if you're coming across as confident, if you're using too much technical jargon, or if your answers are clear and easy to understand.
That's wild. I can see how useful that would be, especially for someone who gets nervous in interviews. You can practice beforehand and give feedback without the pressure of a real interview.
Exactly. It's all about helping you put your best foot forward. And it just goes to show how technology is changing the game for job seekers in so many ways.
It really makes you think, what other unexpected skills are becoming important in today's job market? It's not just about what you know how to do anymore. It's about how you navigate this whole digital world.
I'm right there with you. Technical skills are still crucial, of course, but things like digital literacy, being able to adapt quickly, and learning new technologies fast, those are becoming just as important.
It's like a whole new set of soft skills, right?
Yeah.
Maybe tech fluency should be a line on everyone's resume now. But let's loop back to our listener who's interested in becoming a textile machine operator. Based on all this info, what are the key takeaways?
First off, I'd say don't underestimate the skill and knowledge it takes to really succeed in this role. It's a cool mix of technical expertise, problem-solving abilities, and you can't forget those all-important people skills.
Right. It's a good reminder that there's often more to a job than meets the eye. Textile machine operator might sound pretty straightforward, but there's a lot going on beneath the surface.
Absolutely. And the second takeaway, the importance of staying curious and always being open to learning. The textile industry is changing constantly, just like everything else, with all these new technologies popping up. To really thrive in this field, you got to be ready to adapt and keep your skills sharp.
That's such a crucial point in any career these days, right? Things are moving so fast that if you're not learning and growing, you're basically falling behind.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder if a field like textile manufacturing, which has been around forever, is being transformed by technology, what other unexpected changes are coming for the world of work as a whole?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? But hey, we'll save that for another deep dive. I think we've given our listeners a lot to think about when it comes to textile machine operators.
For sure. It's a career with a rich history, exciting opportunities right now, and a future that's full of potential.